Do you understand that? Me, not you, but me! Every day! So forgive me for not going home to have a good night's rest!
Hi guys, welcome to our channel. Today we are discussing a movie in which when the little girls of two families disappear, the father of one of them is disappointed with the police. So he decides to follow the clues, but still, there is no sign of the girls. Check the title of the movie in the description. The film begins with Ralph hunting a deer with the help of his father, Keller. On the way back home, according to the advice he received from his father, Keller now puts them in his son's custody, that he should always be ready for difficult situations. He is proud of his son and admires him for his good shooting. Later on Thanksgiving, he and his family prepare to visit their neighbor, and Keller prefers to walk there. In addition to Ralph, his wife Grace and his little daughter Anna are with him. Nancy welcomes them warmly, and her husband Franklin is very excited about their presence. As everyone prepares for Thanksgiving lunch, Joy and Anna play with the homemade mouse, then ask their father's permission to go out and play. Keller says to ask Ralph to go with them. Outside, they start messing with an RV, but Ralph and Eliza pull them away from the van as a sound comes from the van's radio. After lunch, Anna asks her mother for permission to take Joy home to look for his whistle, and Grace allows them but asks them to take Ralph and Eliza with them. Hours later, Keller asks Ralph and Eliza about their sisters, but they claim they haven't seen them since lunch. Keller goes to his house to find them. He even searches Anna's room and the basement, which were forbidden for children, but there is no sign of them. He returns to the families, but no one knows where Anna and Joy are. Ralph remembers the RV they passed earlier and takes his dad there, but the RV isn't there, so Keller knocks on the house door across the street, but no one is there. He calls the police to report the missing children. Detective Loki finishes his dinner at a restaurant. When he returns to his car, he receives a report of a suspicious RV parked northbound off the road. He and other police forces find the RV simultaneously, and just as Loki is about to check it out, the driver starts to drive off and surprisingly crashes the van into a tree. After checking inside the van, Loki finds the driver, Alex Jones. After being arrested, he angrily asks him to show the girl's location, but he remains silent. Alex is taken to the police station to be interrogated by Loki for kidnapping the girls, but he denies all the charges. While examining the van, he asks where he parks the RV, and Alex points to his auntie's house. Later that night, Loki visits Auntie Alex, Mrs. Holly, who invites him into the house. Showing Alex's room, she explains that he lives with her. It turns out that Holly has been missing her husband for years. Also, she reveals that Alex was adopted when he was 6 years old after his parents died in an accident. Loki then receives a report that Alex's RV has no evidence of his crime. The police search the entire forest for the girls, including Keller. The next day, Loki visits the Birch family, and Nancy begrudgingly gives him clearer photos of Joy that might help. He then visits the Dover family and asks Grace if they might have run away. Grace hesitantly agrees but is deeply saddened by her daughter's disappearance, and her only hope is that she's heard that Detective Loki has solved all the cases he's been working on so far. He says he will find Anna and Joy, and then Keller joins them. Loki informs him that no evidence against Alex has been discovered, which angers him greatly. He tries to calm him down, but Keller gets increasingly upset. He assures him that the police are looking into all the possibilities and that he will do his job. Before he leaves, Keller approaches him and asks if Alex is being held until the girls are found. Loki explains that they can't keep him in custody without evidence against him. Still, Keller worriedly asks him to do everything he can to do it because the lives of the two little girls are in danger. However, his superior, Richard, opposes Alex's detention for one more day. Loki investigates some cases of suspected rape during the day and night, the last case being at Father Patrick's house, but it seems that no one is home. He sees Father Patrick lying on the ground from the window and immediately breaks the door and enters. However, it turns out that he fell asleep after getting drunk, and then Loki looks around the house and finds a secret cellar. He jumps down to investigate and finds some statues, and then he sees a rotting corpse tied to a chair, obviously long dead. He pressures Father Patrick to reveal any information he has about the body. Father Patrick says that he came to confess and said that he killed 16 children and was going to kill more children. According to his confession, Loki arrests him. The next day, the group continues to search the forest. Loki is forced to release Alex because he has no evidence against him. Moments later, Grace informs Keller about this, and he immediately goes to the police station and attacks Alex while surrounded by reporters. Alex mutters that the girls didn't cry until he left them, and this causes Keller to lash out at him even more. The police arrest him. However, Richard ignores his rough treatment of Alex and warns him that he should go home. Keller admits that he overheard things from Alex that indicated he was guilty and wanted him arrested again, but has no proof that anyone else heard it. Later, Loki visits Alex and Holly and asks if he has told Claire anything but gets no response, so he asks Holly to talk to him privately. Loki warns that if he knows the truth and doesn't tell, Holly might go to jail. He calls Keller and informs him that he has put too much pressure on Alex, but he does not give up, knowing that Alex's reduced IQ will prevent him from planning a kidnapping. Keller then returns to his family since Grace wants Anna to come home. She asks Keller to bring Anna back home as he promised to protect the family from anything. Keller gives his wife some painkillers to calm her down a bit, then gives Ralph the pills and asks him to take care of Grace as he plans to help the police find Anna sooner. It seems he lied because he waits outside Holly's house for Alex to leave. Hours later, Alex finally comes out with his dog, and to his surprise, his violent behavior with his dog makes Keller think. Hearing Alex's Christmas jingle, Keller pulls out his gun and gets out of the car, threatening him. Now he is sure that he knows where his daughter is because that was the song that Anna always repeated. The next day, he takes Franklin to his old abandoned house, where it is revealed that he is holding Alex hostage. Franklin is shocked by Keller's decision and believes they should hand him over to the police, but Keller explains that the police will not help them. They may lose their daughters if they lose time. He gives Alex another chance to confess if he knows something. Meanwhile, at the police station, Loki is looking into cases of missing children from the past, and one case forces him to speak to Mrs. Milne, a mother whose child was kidnapped 26 years ago. She explains that her child suddenly disappeared, and after that there was no news about him. In terms of location, the kidnapping of her child is very similar to the kidnapping of girls. That night, Keller is still interrogating Alex and trying to get him to talk by torturing and hurting him, but Alex has nothing to say. It seems that Franklin reluctantly goes along with him, and even the worst threats from Keller won't make Alex reveal anything. Franklin attends a vigil for the missing girls and comforts his grieving family. Meanwhile, many people light candles to sympathize with them. In the meantime, Loki suspects one of the people who put a bear next to the candles and tries to chase him, but when he reaches the end of the crowd, he realizes he is running away. He chases him quickly but loses him in the forest near the highway. The next day, Franklin and Nancy see the suspect's photo obtained through Loki's facial recognition on the news. Still, he joins Keller again to torture and interrogate Alex because Keller is sure that Alex and the suspect know each other. Franklin is clearly upset but leaves. Meanwhile, Loki informs Richard that Alex has been missing after walking his dog for the past few nights. Loki blames him for Alex's disappearance as he believes he should have been assigned an agent to keep an eye on him. Richard ignores him, and Loki re-watches his interrogation of Alex, hoping that maybe he can get some new information from him. After receiving a call, he goes to the clothing shopping center and questions the receptionist about the suspect. He gives her his card to inform him if she sees him again. After almost 5 days of this incident, Franklin no longer wants to accompany Keller in his violent interrogation and returns home. His confused face forces him to confess everything about Alex to Nancy. Moments later, they visit Keller, and Nancy tells him she wants to see Alex. Nancy begs Alex to help her find her daughter and even opens his hands, but then Alex attacks her and tries to run away, but Keller stops him. After that, he shows Franklin and Nancy his new method of forcing Alex into a dark, cramped room and torturing him with hot and cold water. Franklin claims that Keller doesn't know if Alex is guilty and that they must stop this procedure as soon as possible. Keller gives him a hammer to open the door, but Nancy stops Franklin from opening it, and they both leave. She tells her husband they won't accompany Keller, but they won't stop him from questioning Alex either. Meanwhile, the suspect sneaks into Franklin's house and watches Eliza taking a bath. After that, when they arrive home, the suspect runs to Keller's house and wakes Grace up. Grace thinks her daughter is back as he runs away again, and then Ralph tries to calm his mother's agitation. Eliza locked herself in the bathroom because of seeing a stranger and blames her parents for leaving home without knowing. Grace calls Loki and tells him what she saw. She asks him to take notes of what she said. She takes him to the basement, and then he suspects that Keller has been less with his family for the past few days and decides to follow him the next day. Before Keller enters the abandoned house, he notices Loki watching him from the truck's horns, so he changes course and heads to a nearby liquor store. Immediately after he gets out of there, he goes to Loki and gets into his car, and then Loki asks him where he is going. Keller lies about buying whiskey. Still, Loki doesn't believe his words and starts questioning him about Alex's disappearance. Because he worries about his daughter, Keller angrily asks Loki to find the person who kidnapped her instead of chasing him, so he gets out of the car. He returns home and when he falls asleep, he dreams of Anna and suddenly wakes up with her whistle. He goes to Alex and tortures him horribly. His only confession is, "I'm not Alex, he never came, and I like to play." Keller kneels with tears in his eyes and asks God for forgiveness. At the same time, Loki approaches the abandoned house and tries to open a way to enter. Keller finds out and asks Alex to keep quiet, and then he looks for a way to escape this predicament. When Loki enters the abandoned house, he sees Keller on the floor as if he is sleeping. Loki wakes him up and asks why he didn't inform him about the existence of this house. He gets suspicious of Keller and checks there. Just as he approaches the washroom, where Alex is hiding, he receives a call from the mall receptionist who says the suspect has just bought clothes there. So he leaves there in a hurry and finds his identity and address on the car's license plate. His name is Bob. He tries to evade Loki's interrogations, pretending that he has never seen him. Suddenly Bob tries to escape but is arrested by Loki. Loki asks for backup from the police department and starts searching the house. He enters a room with some boxes and starts opening them. Inside one of them, he finds dangerous snakes that cover the bloody clothes, just like the other boxes, unlike the last box, where he finds a book full of drawings of mazes. After Franklin and Nancy confirm the identification of Joy's bloody clothes, Loki shows Keller the photos of the bloody clothes one by one. As he tearfully confirms that a photo of a bloody sock is Anna's, Loki informs Keller that they have yet to find any bodies. He blames Loki for wasting his time and not saving his daughter and leaves. When he returns, he sees reporters outside the house and asks Ralph not to talk to them, but Ralph replies that Eliza told him that the girls are no longer alive. Keller insists that this is not true and asks him to keep the story of identifying the bloody clothes from Grace. Still, Ralph refuses, causing Keller to angrily leave the house. Meanwhile, Loki is watching Bob draw a maze in the interrogation room. He decides to enter the room and asks Bob about what he drew, but he doesn't answer and just cries. This causes Loki to attack him, and in the intervention of the agents, Bob grabs one of their guns and commits suicide to make sure that he keeps something from them. Returning to the abandoned house, Keller prays for forgiveness, and Alex hears his voice through the hole in the door. Keller claims that he doesn't know what to do, but he's sure that Alex knows where the girls are. Suddenly Alex admits that the girls are in a maze, but that's all. He goes to Holly and says that he blames himself for Alex's disappearance because of his behavior that day, and then Holly invites him inside. In the conversation between them, Keller tries to get new information but to no avail. Instead, he finds the news of Bob's suicide in the newspaper on the table and is shocked. At the police station, Richard tries to comfort Loki about not solving the case of the missing girls. Still, Loki is very disappointed and stares at Bob's maze drawing. He doesn't find anything and angrily messes up the things on his desk. He notices a photo of the dead body in Father Patrick's basement with a necklace similar to Bob's maze. He receives a call that clues have been discovered around Bob's house, the replicas buried underground, but he is told that most of the evidence is fake and the mazes are just copies. Loki insists that there is a connection between these pieces of evidence. Suddenly, after seeing one of his notes, he rushes back to Keller's house and finds evidence that Bob stole Anna's socks from her room. Grace gets a call, and as Keller gets home, she tells him they must go to the hospital because they found Joy but not Anna. They visit Joy, and while she is sleeping, Keller tries to find out about Anna by asking her questions. Joy slowly wakes up and remembers the events leading up to her discovery, saying that Keller was present where they were imprisoned. After that, Keller leaves the room and Loki sees him confused. He runs away and sprints down the street. Loki misses him and thinks he has gone to his abandoned house, so he goes there and hears Alex's pain from the window. He enters the apartment and follows the sound of crying. On the other hand, it turns out that Keller went to Holly and said he came to help solve the problems around the house as an apology. Holly says she just burned her hand and invites him inside. Moments later, Keller claims that he knows the girls are here and doesn't intend to harm her, but suddenly, it turns out that she is hiding a gun. Holly forces him to handcuff himself and orders him to drink at least a third of that drink if he wants to see his daughter. He does so, hoping to see Anna, and as soon as his phone rings, Holly asks him to throw it into the crusher well. She confesses to kidnapping many children with her late husband, and that she is now continuing the war they waged against God by making the children disappear. She then forces Keller to get in the car and move it, also admitting that Alex never hurt Anna or Joy and that it was her decision to kidnap the girls.
Anna! Anna!
At first, Keller refuses to enter the pit. Still eventually, after Holly shoots him in the leg, he is forced to throw himself into the pit. When he falls into the pit, Keller gets more damage, and Holly puts the car in place. Meanwhile, Richard orders Loki to inform Holly about Alex's finding. In the pit, Keller scrambles to look around and finds Anna's whistle saying, "God, protect my daughter." Loki arrives at Holly's house, and as he knocks on the door, Holly ignores him and enters the room where Anna is hiding. He gets suspicious, so he enters the house and hears movement in the house but arrives just as Holly is injecting Anna with a lethal substance. While requesting that her body be cremated instead of being buried in a coffin, she attacks Loki. She is eventually killed, although Loki is also wounded. Nevertheless, he quickly hugs Anna and drives on the highway, but the intensity of the rain is so strong that it disturbs his vision. Anna's condition is getting worse every moment, and Loki's bleeding makes him unable to see anything. Meanwhile, he notices the emergency sign, turns, and immediately calls the nurses for help. Hours later, as Loki recovers from his injuries, Grace visits him with Anna, Nancy and Joy to thank him. In a private conversation, Grace talks to Loki and asks him about Keller's punishment and imprisonment. She then says that Keller has not contacted her and asks if Loki will find him. Grace says she misses him, and he did what he had to do to find Anna. At the movie's end, after returning to Holly's house, the detectives stop work due to the hardness of the soil and the cold weather. After that, before he leaves, Loki hears Keller's whistle in the pit after some repetitions. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.